When you know that you are queer, but your favorite drink is beer, that's gayish. You can bottom without stopping, but you can't stand going shopping, that's gayish. Oh, gayish, you're probably gayish. Well, life's just too short for narrow stereotypes, so it's gayish. We're also gayish. It's Gayish with Mike and Kyle.
Hello, everyone in the podcast universe. This is Gayish,
the podcast that takes a dickin' and keeps on licking.
Oh, hopefully one from each end.
That's true. That's from Edgemeister3 on Twitter.
Oh, thanks, Edgemeister.
3. Couldn't get Edgemeister 1 or 2. Sorry about that.
You're really committing to the bit, though. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz.
We're here to bridge the gap between sexuality and actuality. And today,
we're going to talk about Kamala.
We're going to talk about Kamala Harris, the hopefully next president of the United States, if we have anything to do with it.
You think we're going to sway some voters, some undecideds?
I'm certain that there are many, many people just right of center who are waiting on pins and needles for our opinions about this so that they can decide what to do.
I can't wait for the Gayish endorsement logo to show up on her official campaign website.
Oh my God, let's do that. Derek, make an Instagram post, put Kamala Harris all over that motherfucker and
see if she reposts it.
Can we officially endorse her right now, Kyle? And can we officially post it like right now?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, let's see. Out of the three of us, who all votes for?
All in favor, say aye.
100%. It's unanimous.
Yeah.
We did it.
All right. Episode over. This has been Gayish from the... No, okay. We're gonna talk about Kamala Harris, but first, we do have 100 words this week.
Ooh.
So, at the $15 a month level of Patreon, you have the right to use my hole. And that means if you send in up to 100 words, doesn't matter what they are, I will read them. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This time it isn't an email, Kyle, so you don't even have to get pissed because there's no salutation. There's no sign off. It's just getting right to the point.
That's perfect. I love this. Good call.
Great. Okay. Well, this one comes to us from Keith Weisenhunt. It says, "Dear Mike, don't read this part. Noted bisexual Keith. Haha, I fooled you."
Jesus.
Here it is. He said it as an attachment, which I love that. Do we really have nothing to say? Week after week goes by and no one will use this man's hole. It's a fucking platform, people. So today and many more in the future, I'm going to use Mike's hole for this, my miscreant of the month. Please check out the LA Graffiti Girls, an all-female coalition of graffiti artists, working hard to bring women's voices to a traditionally male space and adding new and unique voices to the urban art scene. LAGraffitiGirls.com. This is the head miscreant signing off. Be gay, break rules. There, I did it, bitches.
All right, that's one way to use Mike's hole.
It feels so used. It's like...
Don't you love it, Mike?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if like graffiti is necessarily a place that I want representation, but now I'm into it.
I always go back to our rodeos episode. I don't think there should be rodeos, but if there are, I want to have gay cowboys.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, I want representation everywhere, even places I don't want it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Lots of feedback and corrections, but nothing to report right now. So here's the news.
Shut your mouth hole. It's time for your ear holes. News.
Okay, Kyle, I'm a professional podcaster, but I closed all of my news stories. So hold on.
That was a silly decision.
Yeah.
Do them from memory.
I did that one time. We were in the Jeep. It was right before the pandemic. It was the open relationships episode, and we were waiting in line for the ferry or some shit, and we were recording, and we recorded the news in the Jeep. Do you remember this?
No. I'm sure there was some high quality audio that we got out of that.
Oh, yeah, it's magical. Okay, news the first.
Great.
Dimitri Pavati, I'm guessing on that pronunciation, a Paralympic long jumper representing France, celebrated his bronze medal winning performance at the 2024 Paralympics in Paris, France by coming out as gay.
Yeah. I mean, we and unfortunately there was no like pole vaulting accidents for us to know what he's packing, but he
He posted to Instagram on Saturday in French, and roughly translated it is, "Yes, I am small, mixed race, one-legged, and to add insult to injury, gay."
Oh, wow. Interesting coming out tactic.
Yeah. He said, today I was able to find my way and give meaning to what I accomplish every day, wanting to be the icon of people with disabilities. He explained that he had little time for people who could not accept his physical or sexual identity, describing them as not worthy of love from the community. Life is too short to give importance to this kind of individual, he wrote. Now I have a second fight to lead with my LGBTQIA+ community, and I hope to give strength and courage also to the people still in the closet or to these high-level sportsmen who do not dare to live openly and freely this freedom that is rightfully ours. Yeah, it's really interesting. I've heard it said that although there were a lot of out and visible LGBTQ folks at the Olympics this year, we are underrepresented at elite levels of sport, and so whatever we can do to sort of improve that, I think the better.
Yeah, sports has notably the hottest dudes. Also needs to have more gays in it. Then,
yeah, absolutely. Okay, news the second.
Yeah.
So this might be a update. I forget if I talked about this before or not, but Stephen Glover, also known as Steve-O from Jackass,
Oh, yeah.
announced in July that as part of a series of pranks for his upcoming tour, he would be temporarily getting breast implants.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this?
I remember this because that was very surprising. That was not something I expected from a cis dude.
Well, apparently he has canceled his breast implant surgery after talking to a trans shop worker.
I saw this story.
He said he was shopping for groceries, noticed that the cashier at the checkout was trans. Quote, "It struck me as a sign from the universe," he said. "I didn't have any dedicated meetings or conversations with trans people because I didn't really feel I had to. I asked them if I could run something by them, and I had a conversation with this person that had a profound impact on me. I knew what my motivation was, I knew what my intention was, and it wasn't to be hurtful to anybody. I was just trying to get laughs. I had done a bunch of workshop shows to test out material, and I had a number of trans people come to me after the shows to voice support for the stunt. I think some people would have been okay with it, and some people wouldn't." So apparently after speaking to this cashier, he learned more about the current political climate, the anti-LGBTQ plus legislation that trans and queer people are facing this year. And he decided that it wasn't cool. He decided to not to go for it and canceled the surgery.
Interesting.
He said that the conversation made him realize it wasn't a subject for fun and games.
Who are there people that are like unaware of the anti-trans legislation that's been happening? It's been like all over the news. I feel like you can't avoid that if you wanted to.
I don't know, man. I think people on the right are actually more tuned in than people on the left. Like, I think that people on the right are more freaked out by trans people and all, worked up into a frothy frenzy about trans people and the bathrooms and what sports they're playing and whether their kids are being forced to have surgery at school or whatever the fuck that orange asshole said last week. I think people on the left generally just assume that things are pretty okay for queer people. I could be wrong. I don't know, but that's sort of my felt sense. But yeah, I think gay people are totally tuned in because we're worried about like trans people are part of the queer umbrella. And so we're like, there's solidarity there, but also like if we lose ground there, where else will we lose ground? So there's, we've more of a stake in these kinds of legislative efforts than straight people, even if they're allies.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, Steve-O, find another way to get attention.
Yeah, sounds like he has. News the last. So, a new submarine has been unveiled by the U.S. Navy. It is the USS New Jersey. There was a ceremony at the Naval Weapons Station in Earl, New Jersey. Naval Weapons Station, Earl, New Jersey. I don't know if it's I don't know where the goes. I made it up. I don't know. Anyway, it's the USS New Jersey. And this is the first submarine of its kind that has been designed for both male and female sailors. So,
sorry, non-binary sailors, you're not included.
Apparently. Well, so the Navy, from the invention of submarines until 2010, didn't allow women on submarines at all. And the justification was that they're very tiny spaces and that they weren't designed for there to be gender segregated spaces that would allow for people to poop and take showers without seeing each other's genitals, like whatever the justification is there.
Yeah. And they forgot that gay people exist.
Right. Yeah. Well, so then, so they started allowing women in submarines in 2010, and as of last year, there were 609 women assigned to submarines, according to the U.S. Naval Institute. And then they realized, like women want to serve on submarines, and we need them to because they're pretty good at their jobs. So they designed the submarine to make it more comfortable and with more privacy in mind for mixed gender environments. And so, of course, the right wing has totally lost their fucking mind because somebody said that they launched gender neutral submarines, and they're just
doing transgender surgeries on alien submarines.
Yeah, and giving submarines they them pronouns, that's one of the jokes. I belong to this Facebook group, and its conservatives only have 2 jokes, and neither of them are funny. But like, it seems like a lot of conservative circles, all you have to do is say pronouns or they them pronouns, and like it'll get a laugh, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
One person on X said that the submarine would be named the USS TikTok and go by they them pronouns. Another said, "This is a fucking joke. I hate this country for what they are doing to it." One person said, quote, "This is what our military has come to. Gender neutral submarines. People wonder why the U.S. is being laughed at. Our enemies tremble in terror at the thought of our gender neutral submarine." A self-proclaimed Donald Trump supporter sarcastically posted. This is even our submarines have been dragged into this woke gender mess. Another person wrote. It's just care about something that matters, please.
Well, it's also like you have literally no idea. Someone wrote a headline to get people riled up and it worked. And instead of actually looking at the facts, like, submarines weren't designed for women, to accommodate women. That's really weird and outdated. We should fix that, instead of like having that basic 2-step logic that required to go into that. Now they're thinking that we have non-binary submarines or something.
Yep. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of the thing about like, just wait until your uncle finds out that in private residences, all bathrooms are gender neutral.
Yeah.
There's a lot of functions that we can do that use the same spaces. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's I don't know. Ugh. That's the news.
That's the news. Speaking of people that would get conservatives all riled up, I want to thank our following new Patreon members. Thank you to Joshua Zernick, who was always last in class, in the order, last person to get their college degree. Sorry about that Z name, Joshua. And thank you to Trey Butler.
Trey Butler?
Yeah.
This sounds like, I don't know, like a kicker for the 49ers or something.
Yeah, I agree. Trey Butler, are you the kicker for the 49ers? You have to let us know. Thank you. If you want ad-free episodes a day early, if you want bonus content, if you want to use Mike's hole, if you want a bunch of cool stuff, go to patreon.com/gayish podcast.
Do it. All right. Do you want to talk about Kamala Harris?
Yeah, let's talk about Kamala Harris. The official Gayish endorsed Kamala Harris.
That's right. Now it's a shoe-in, Kyle. She's going to win.
Obvi.
This is the momentum that she needed, you know?
Yeah, she was like just waiting for this moment.
Like Joe Biden dropping out. Okay, whatever. Then going the convention. Okay, a little bit of a boost. Then mopping the floor with Donald Trump at that debate. Okay. Gayish. That's what's going to fucking do it.
That's the accomplishment that she's been waiting to put on her resume. Did you watch the debate?
No. And I think I'm glad I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was house hunting actually that evening instead of watching the debate. And then I realized after that I was like, Oh, there's the memes and TikToks or whatever is gonna take care of the important parts.
Yeah, yeah.
Which lead me to the belief that the only important parts were the faces that she made at him.
Those were huge. Those were critical.
Did you?
Yeah, I only watched because a friend invited me over to his place where he had drinks. We were considering doing some kind of bingo card, but we didn't end up doing that. But we decided we'd have to finish our drinks if he brought up Hannibal or if she brought up, what was her thing that we were going to drink if she said, I forget.
Falling out of a coconut tree?
No, but that would have been a good one. But yeah, she did great. She mostly just kind of left little bait traps for him to just, part of the strategy seemed to be like, let him talk. And I hated how the moderators let Donald Trump jump in and say, well, she made this comment, so I have to respond. And they let him respond every single time instead of just cutting the mics. I thought they were going to cut the mics. And the one time she tried to do that, to say, like, he said something about me twice and I need to jump in, and they didn't let her. I was really annoyed at the moderators for that. But she had a couple moments where she like kind of would answer the question, but then like actually tried to make her present her case for being the president to everyone, like tried to actually, inspire the idea of hope and that she would work for all Americans and all that good stuff. And I liked a couple of those moments that she had during the debate where she did that. There were other times where she kind of dodged the question and I was less excited about it, but
well, I mean, there's dodging the question and there's just completely fucking making shit up. So,
and then there's talking about eating dogs and cats, and that's something that he said, and that's still a person that people think that we should have for our president.
And also, I think that people think like, oh, he said that crazy thing, it doesn't matter. They've closed schools in Springfield, Ohio, because of this absolute horse shit. If you've not been following it, people listening, there are a bunch of Haitian immigrants that live in Springfield, Ohio, and they are now claiming on the right that the Haitian immigrants are eating the cats and dogs, the pets of the people that live there, the citizens, the Americans that live there. And there's no truth whatsoever to it. The mayor said so. Like, it's not happening. This isn't true. And nevertheless, there have been bomb threats called in. Don't know how that was supposed to help the cats, but like they've had just a hell of a time getting things under control in poor Springfield, Ohio, because again, of a thing that isn't actually happening, is purely racist and xenophobic.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it came out of that orange shit Gibbons face.
Yeah. What a lunatic. I hate that guy.
Oh my God. Lunatic.
That doesn't mean I want him to get assassinated.
I mean, I kind of do, Kyle.
Oh yeah? I don't know if you can you say that?
I don't know. I said kind of. I think there's plausible deniability built in there. Like I'm what's that word? Ambivalent. I'm ambivalent, which ambivalent doesn't mean I don't care. It means I care a lot in both directions.
Okay.
They cancel each other out.
Ambi. I'm not saying I would mourn over his death if it happened.
Yeah.
I just want her to win in a landslide against him. That's my hope for the future.
Well, the polls are looking pretty good, at least at this point, but they looked good for Hillary Clinton. I'll talk to you about
poll numbers.
And we're going to talk to about a bunch of stuff. So the history of Kamala Harris.
Okay.
So her full name is Kamala Davy Harris.
Davy? I didn't know that.
Davy. It's DEVI, but it's not Devi. It's Davy. According to the IP, the righty right way, the dictionary, how it sounds way.
You're doing so good, Mike. What are you talking about?
You know, when you write something and then it gives the pronunciation guide and those fucked up letters.
Yeah. Okay.
This says it's Davy.
Okay.
Anyway, she was born October 20th of 1964. So almost happy birthday, I guess. I don't know. But she is then therefore 59 years old, which is not too old to be president in most people's estimation. And the crowning achievement so far of her life has been to be the 49th and current vice president of the United States. She ran with Joe Biden in 2020, and she is the first female, first African American, and first Asian American vice president. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
India is part of Asia, and people forget that. And so I just want to point that out in case any of those people are listening, which is unlikely, maybe, but we'll see.
So that no one writes in and argues with you over those two facts?
Like if I say she's Asian and they're like, no, she doesn't look Asian, like, but she is. So shush.
Yeah. That's all you need to say preemptively. I appreciate that.
Okay, great. Somebody got in a fight with me about that. They're like, no, they're not Asian. They're Pakistani. I'm like, that's Asia. What? Like, anyway. Okay. She was
can't
born.
argue with people like that.
You can't argue. Oh my God. I once got in a fight with a relative. I can tell you the whole story, but the to boil it down, it was, do Native Americans speak Mexican or not? And I was like, girl, like, this is just, there's so many incorrect things that you have to believe to even ask that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, she was born in Oakland, California. So in case you're wondering about the fact that she's not a white person, but is still a natural born citizen, that's you just being racist again. She's born in Oakland, California. Now, her mother is from India and is named Shamala, and Shamala Gopalan. And she was a biologist who came here to study endocrinology at the University of California, Berkeley. And apparently she was one smart bitch because she worked on research that helped with breast cancer research, a bunch of stuff with the progesterone receptor gene. And her dad, Donald J. Harris, is Jamaican. He arrived in the United States from Jamaica in 1961, also enrolled at UC Berkeley, and specialized in development economics. He was the first Black scholar to be granted tenure at the Department of Economics in Stanford and has emeritus status there. They divorced when she was quite young. She was 7 years old. And she has described her relationship with her father as being cordial but distant, if that makes sense.
Like a lot of gays.
Like a lot of gays. Well, and I think it's worth saying over and over again, like one of the things that I think might appeal to queer people about Kamala Harris is first the intersectionality factor, right? Like she's a first generation American. She's of Indian and Asian descent. She's a woman. Like there's a lot of othering about her that I think sort of makes her attractive as a person to relate to as a queer person.
Yeah, for sure.
She has one sister named Maya who spoke at the convention, if you saw her do that. Now, this is really interesting. I don't know why. Maybe the right thinks they tried the whole birth certificate thing with Barack and that didn't go well, so they're just not going to touch it this time. But this whole thing about like, when did she decide to be Black? Trump famously asked that in front of a Black journalist. But she actually graduated from a Canadian high school.
No way.
Yeah. So they lived in Berkeley, California, and they moved in 1966 when Kamala was only 2 years old. They lived for a few years in college towns in the Midwest. So they were at Urbana, Illinois, which is where her sister Maya was born, Evanston, Illinois, Madison, Wisconsin. So that's the University of Illinois, UIUC, Northwestern University, and University of Wisconsin-Madison are all big colleges in those towns. By 1970, though, the Harrises weren't doing great, and they ultimately divorced. But Shamala moved the girls with her back to California, and so then the dad, Donald Harris, he accepted a position at Stanford and came back. So for a while there, Kamala and Maya would spend weekends at their dad's house in Palo Alto and live with their mom in Berkeley during the week. Now, In 1976, Shamala, the mom, accepted a research position at the McGill University School of Medicine and moved the girls and herself to Montreal, Quebec.
Mm.
And
now, so Canada is allowed to vote in this election just for that reason. Welcome to the team, Canada.
Exactly. We the Quebecois vote is strong this year.
Yep, big contingent there.
Mail in those ballots early and often. But yeah, she graduated from Westmount High School in Montreal, Quebec in 1981. She went to Vanier College, Vanier probably because it's Quebec, in Montreal, and then later went to Howard University, a historically black university in Washington, D.C. So that's when she came back to the United States. She was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, one of the Divine Nine historically black sororities. That's important. She decided because
to be black way back then.
Yeah, at least temporarily, apparently.
Yeah.
The idea that she just turned black recently because it was politically advantageous is just racist horse shit of the ultimate degree that makes me want to punch a baby. Yeah. But yeah, she graduated in 86 with a degree in political science and economics. She then went to the University of California, Hastings College of Law in San Francisco. She was president of the Black Law Students Association. There's that word again, black. Kamala Harris is black. Has always been black. Has always identified as black. Yeah. She got her JD in 1989. And this is when she became, she was, there are, I think, valid criticisms of her and her career when she was a district attorney. She was deputy district attorney in Alameda County, California. She in 1994 she was appointed to the Unemployment Insurance Appeals Board by Speaker of the California Assembly Willie Brown, who was then dating Harris. This is the whole thing about when Donald Trump says that he was on an airplane with Willie Brown, who was talking shit about Kamala Harris. Like that absolutely didn't happen. Willie Brown says it didn't happen, that it was a different black guy that Trump was probably talking to.
Oh, no. I mean, not surprising given his history, but yeah, that sucks.
I mean, people are saying, Kyle.
People are saying.
In August of 2000, she took a job at San Francisco City Hall working for City Attorney Louise Wren. And that's when she ran for DA. So she, in 2002, ran for District Attorney of San Francisco and won with 56% of the vote, becoming the first person of color elected district attorney of San Francisco. And she was like pretty good at that job. I'll finish her CV and then kind of come back to some of these things later in the show, because I think that there's like valid criticisms to talk about, and then her allyship to the queer community, which I know we both want to talk about a little bit. Sure. Yeah. She went from there to become Attorney General of California from 2011 to 2017. And had a career there running the state's Justice Department. And then that's when she became the junior senator from California in 2017. She served 4 years of a 6-year term and left that role in 2021 to become vice president of the United States under Joe Biden, which is the post that she holds now. So in terms of like bona fides, that's like pretty legit. Like anybody who wants to say that she's unqualified or didn't earn how she got to where she got is really telling you a story. So
about themselves, not about her.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, anyway, that's sort of the history of Kamala Harris. And like I said, I want to talk a whole bunch more about like the things that she's done for the community over the years, the couple of sort of valid criticisms of her and her policies. But first, you said you wanted to talk about polls?
Yeah, I have some data.
Okay, data.
So she is, of course, running against Donald Trump. So I have poll numbers from 538 of Harris v. Trump. And do you know where they're at right now?
Like physically? Polling?
Do you know where's your Kamala Harris? Have you checked? No. Do you know where they're at in the polls?
So I fairly religiously follow 538. ABC News bought 538, so they've gotten downhill, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they have this model that I really like where they take all of the polls and they score how good the poll is. And then they put all of the polls together, run a bunch of simulations, and see who's winning. Right now, their model, when they
Are you just reading it from the poll numbers?
No, what?
Did you pull up the website?
Yeah, it's changed. It got a point better for her in just the last 3 hours since I looked at it before. It's bookmarked, it's tabbed. I read this site every day, all the time.
You're just kind of stealing my thunder, but go for it.
Oh, okay. No, go for it.
No, you go.
Yes. Oh, wait, hold on. You asked a yes or no question. Do I know how the polls are going? Yes.
What are they, Mike?
No. Tell me, Kyle.
No, because I'm out of date because I pulled them yesterday and you said they changed within the last 3 hours. So
No.
No?
This is fun.
Are we fighting?
I think we're fighting. Say something.
You say the numbers. What are the numbers right now, Mike?
According to 538, when they run 1,000 computer simulated elections, Harris wins 61 times out of 100. 61% of the time, she wins the computer model simulations. Trump wins 39% of the time. And 4 out of 1,000 times, neither of them win, and it goes to Congress.
How was she at 48% yesterday? And he was at 45%.
Well, again, so this is not polls, which is why I don't feel that bad about saying it. This is a statistical model. This is a computer simulation that looks at all of the polls and crunches them together and then comes up with a model that it runs to predict the outcome of the election. So polls is like, we called 100 people and we asked them who you voting for, a different kind of a thing. All of that, they feed into this like fancy computer model and it says who it thinks is going to win.
Okay. Another survey. I tried to find breakdowns of, the polling for race, for age, and I could only find 2 things. And there is a survey from the NAACP. They found that 78% of Black voters feel the same sense of excitement that they felt when Obama first ran, which that's...
It is funny. Do you remember when Obama ran the first time and it was like the sun was shining in your heart?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. I remember the word hope was like the big word of his campaign.
There were like butterflies coming out of your anus because you were just that happy.
Yeah.
It did seem like a hopeful time. And there was like all this energy. And it does kind of feel like that this time.
Yeah. 56 are more excited now than in 2008.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. If the election were today, 51% of Black voters say they would vote for Harris.
Wait, how many? Did I mishear you?
51%.
Okay.
And if
we need that to go up, people.
We need that to go up. And if the election were today, 27% would say they would vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are they? Who are these people?
I don't know. I think Black voters, LGBT voters, women, I can't understand why any of them, white people, I guess I'm giving white straight men a pass. I don't think they don't get a pass. I understand why they would vote for Trump because of their delusional thinking and their brainwashed nature and the fact that they've never had to deal with adversity once in their lives and get to just walk around pretending like they're discriminated against because someone named a submarine something they don't like.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't understand how you're a minority and plan to vote for Trump. I'm
reminded of the time that my boyfriend told his friend who is a Black trans woman, you can't vote for Trump. You're a Black trans woman. And she lost her shit. It's like, don't tell me who I can and can't vote for, white boy. And so I don't know. I understand it might be a volatile question and he doesn't care about you. Like,
and in fact is actively racist.
is actively fighting against your rights.
Yeah. As far as age, the only thing I could find is that Harris has a 15-point lead on Trump among young voters 18 to 29, which seems good, but then her numbers are still far behind the big margins Democrats usually have over Republicans. In the past 2 decades, they typically need a big difference among young voters to offset the GOP's advantage among older voters. So we need more younger voters as well. We need more of every voter, I guess, is the summary.
That's why her being on TikTok is good. That's where all the kids are.
Yeah, that's why her using brat-themed fonts and colors is
Okay. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
What is brat?
That's the name of the Charlie XCX album that came out, and it had a green font or green background with a black font and just the word brat on it. So everything you're seeing is copying that style of the cover of the album.
I made it all the way through summer without knowing what that is, and now I feel like it's okay to ask.
I'm glad I could be here for you. I've listened to the album. It's fine.
Is it brat like I'm bratty? Like, is that what is the album named after?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you the inspiration behind using brat as the name.
Is it an acronym for something?
No. It's the word brat.
Okay, great. We've solved one mystery for Mike.
Okay. It's not like Big Rats Ate Tomorrow or something. It's not an acronym for anything.
Okay, great. I feel better.
Boobs rarely are thorough.
Boobs rarely are thorough.
Big asses.
No, that's
are. Oh wait, big. Banana relays are tonight.
Boners really are tasty.
Boner, man, how'd you come up with the best one? Derek, in our promotional images, can you make a brat style image that abbreviates brat and then underneath puts boners really are tasty?
This is the best marketing meeting we've had, I think. Put it on the same reel as endorsing Kamala Harris and see what happens.
Oh.
God help us. All right.
Those are the polls. They're not as inspirational as I would want them to be.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually a really good time to talk about polls. I think it's harder to find the gay angle here, but I think this is important enough that it doesn't matter. It is a gay issue to not have Trump in the White House. I guess, and
having Republicans as well. Like, both are really bad for gay people.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you about the Bradley effect, which I think, if anything strikes fear into my heart about this election cycle, it's this. So the Bradley effect.
Did you say the Bradley effect, which has been this summer?
Effect. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
in 1982, Tom Bradley.
He dreamt of a Charlie XCX album so good it would be the album of the summer.
Yep, absolutely. And it was. And he saw that it was good. He was the longtime mayor of Los Angeles, and he ran as the Democrat for governor of California in 1982. And Mr. Bradley can't do it. Mr. Bradley was black, and George Deukmejian, I can't even say that, Deukmejian. Which, quick aside, it has been shown that like a white person's name gets them more votes, and a 2-syllable white sounding name with emphasis on the second syllable, or a 1-syllable name that sounds white, dramatically outperform other names. So actually, Harris is pretty good. Trump, that's like that stabby 1-syllable thing, is better than Harris. Like, just for whatever this fucked up thing is that makes people vote based on just names. But this asshole, Deukmejian, over Bradley. There's a thing. But he was white. He was Armenian descent. And the polls in that election showed Bradley up by a lot. I mean, a lot. So much so that the San Francisco Chronicle printed an early edition, like in advance, like getting ahead of it, which newspapers do pretty often, but had the headline "Bradley win projected" on the paper. Exit polls all showed that he was going to win handily, and he actually did win a majority of votes cast on election day, but he barely lost. He lost the overall race once absentee ballots were included. And it's been studied and studied and studied, and has come to we've come to the conclusion that it's because white voters said they were going to vote for him and then didn't. That there's a lot of theories about why that might be the case, but social stigma and fear of appearing bigoted seemed to be a important contributing factor to this phenomenon. So it was like, hey, who are you going to vote for, the Black Democrat or the white Republican? There were a lot of white voters in the middle that said, well, I'm going to vote for the black guy, and then didn't. So I think that any sort of minority status, it's possible for the Bradley effect to be true, right? And there's a lot of models that try to mitigate this, that try to predict it, that try to take that bias out of the prediction. But I think that's what happened to Hillary Clinton. So in 2016, Hillary Clinton was up by quite a bit against Donald Trump in most polls. And ultimately, we know she didn't win. Now, you can say that's because of her butter emails or whatever, or you can potentially say it's because her behavior at the debates, that she had an annoying voice, or whatever the fuck the horseshit people said about why. But I think ultimately this country wasn't ready for a woman to be president, and the Bradley effect was in effect. I think there were a lot of folks in the middle who said, sure, I'll vote for the woman, and then on the day of just couldn't pull that trigger. So I'm going to talk in the Patreon segment about is this country ready for a gay president? But my fear that is that the black and Asian and woman combo in Kamala Harris is resulting in a Bradley effect, and that she's not going to do as well on the day of as she is in the polls. And she's already not doing as great margin-wise as Hillary was in 2016.
That's kind of depressing, the picture you just painted for us.
Yeah. Hooray. I don't know.
Gayish.
No, she has momentum. I will say, like, she's been crushing it. Like the trajectories are all in the right direction. There are states like North fucking Carolina is now 50-50. It's a toss-up, basically. Arizona is looking good again. She's got a little bit of a lead now in Pennsylvania. Like she's doing really well, and she's doing well in the right places, and the numbers are moving in the right direction. If the trends continue, she should be fine. It's still terrifying that we live in a country where it's even remotely close to the shit given winning. But yeah, I don't know, Kyle.
Yeah. Should we talk about her LGBT record?
Let's talk about her LGBT record. My little tidbit. We can break it down. There's more, of course, obvi. And she was publicly against Prop 8. So Proposition 8 was in California back in the day, and they were trying to, make a marriage just between one man and one woman, and that ultimately passed. But she was always against Prop 8, and I think at that time it's 2008. It was not super politically expedient, I think, to be publicly pro-LGBT. You still had fucking Barack Obama was still against gay marriage or whatever.
Yeah, at least publicly. I even have before that. In 2003, she was elected district attorney for San Francisco. The following year, when San Francisco Mayor Gavin Newsom declared same-sex marriages legal in the city, she conducted same-sex marriages for the same-sex couples. Those marriages were later nullified, however, but she did conduct same-sex marriages. And in 2023, she told The Advocate, quote, "One of the most joyful moments of my career was performing the marriages in 2004. Truly joyful." So, as far back as 2003, she was supporting LGBT couples.
That's so awesome.
As Attorney General, she led efforts to abolish gay and transgender panic defenses. So that's
cool. If people don't know, that's like if you kill somebody or hurt them, and then you try to say in court you did it because you freaked out because you found out that they were gay, or you freaked out because you found out that they were trans. In lots of places, that has been a admissible, not justification, like defense,
legal defense, yeah.
And so we've had to fight and say, like, no, that doesn't justify your shitty behavior, dickbag, fuckface, asshole.
You can't get murdered because of that.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to talk about is she, and I know you do too, she got criticism for, as Attorney General, she backed the state of California when it sought to deny gender confirmation surgeries for trans prisoners.
Yeah.
What she said is that as Attorney General, the state's Department of Corrections was a client of hers, so she had to represent its interests. So I think she's trying to back herself away from the, saying that she was required to support its interests and kind of back herself away from the actual thing that she was doing. She said she worked behind the scenes to get the policy changed so that any inmate requiring procedures could receive them. I don't know what exactly she did behind the scenes or how hard she worked on that, but that's how she responds to these.
This is sort of the problem, right? That, like, if you are elected to be district attorney or attorney general, these kinds of roles, your job that you've been elected to do is to go and enforce the law. And you're in a position where you have to, I think, enforce laws that you don't necessarily agree with or necessarily agree with the implementation of, but it is still your job. So, like, one of the criticisms that she gets is that she put a lot of folks behind bars while she was in office, and that because of the injustices that are built into our justice system disproportionately affects people of color. And it's interesting. I think it's easy. There's a certain kind of liberal person who really expects total perfection in terms of liberal behavior, or is quick to, like, cancel a person. There isn't a lot of room for nuance. I think that's something that we get accused of a lot by the right, and I think that there's a kernel of truth there. You can be mad at her because she put a bunch of people behind bars when she was running California's Justice Department. You can be mad at her for the way in which she did it, and it almost certainly sent some innocent people, probably innocent people of color, into the prison system. And that was her job. I don't know. I get really confused.
Yeah. But saying, like, but that was just my job feels very Nuremberg trial. Like,
sure. Yes, I agree. And like, another thing we're not going to talk about is Israel today. Like, I was, like, debating whether to say something like that at the top of the show. The Biden-Harris administration has a lot of things that are valid to criticize as a liberal person. And instead of eating our own, I think we have to look at the sum total of what someone's candidacy means. And you have to look at the sum total of a person's impact that they are potentially going to have.
I think it's worth, like calling out some of the issues that you have with her, including her stance on Israel and their funding of the Israeli military. I disagree with that and don't like that and wish that stance were different. So I think it's fair to call that out and you're still voting for her. Like, I'm still going to vote for her in spite of that stance that she has. And it's hard to reconcile those things because I believe that there is a genocide happening and I support Palestine in this, and I disagree with us providing arms to Israel. And it's hard to then also vote for that person. But in our two-party system, I don't have another option. If we had a stacked ranked voting, maybe I would consider a third party candidate or some means of, not throwing away my vote by voting third party. But that's just not the system we have right now. So I'm going to vote for her.
Yep. There is no good way to protest vote in this country in our system. And you can be mad about that all you want to. But if you vote for a third party, you voted for Trump. If you abstain, you voted for Trump.
Yeah.
If you vote for Trump, you voted for Trump. Like, and,
yeah.
but like, that's real. And I'm sorry. And be mad about it. But that's true. So, especially if you're in one of those swing states, it's your sort of obligation to show up and swallow whatever probably valid criticisms that you have about her and the Democratic Party, but vote for her anyway, because the alternative is so much worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Let's see what else. She was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2016. She received a perfect 100 score on the HRC congressional scorecard. Hey, there's an HRC congressional scorecard. Whom knew? Not I, but apparently there is.
I wonder what I would score.
What's your voting record been like, Mike?
I think, pretty good.
Pretty good.
I mean, sometimes I miss some of the special elections, but that's,
Yeah. As a senator, she introduced a bill to mandate insurance coverage of PrEP, which that's pretty sweet.
Making butt sex safe for everyone.
Make butt sex safe again. As VP, this is the stuff I don't know how much credit to give them. She has spoken out against the rash of anti-LGBT legislation in conservative states. Like, is speaking out, I guess that's a step in the right direction. As VP, you'd hope that she would do, like, there's more than just speaking out. She's hosted Pride Month receptions and visited the Stonewall Inn. She met with WNBA star Brittany Griner and her wife, Cheryl Griner.
She allowed herself to be seen in public with lesbians. Like,
she met with lesbian basketball star Brittany Griner after her release from Russia.
I'm going to back up though. What do you think? Okay. Did she host? It said she hosted Pride.
She hosted Pride Month receptions.
I want to know what Kamala Harris Pride brunch looks like. I want to know. I want to go to that. I want to go to there.
You probably have to hire the gayest party planner you can find and say, look, I need a gay ass Pride brunch. And I need you to plan the fuck out of it. Make me look so cool with the gays.
Love it.
She also hosted current and former cast members from Queer Eye at a White House reception celebrating the program's 20th anniversary. That's also a nerve-wracking celebration to have, because like you're literally hosting people that are teaching people how to like design their homes and their outfits and their personality and everything. How do you host those gays? And you got to find the gayest party planner you can find and be like, you got to make this the shit, because I have some people who have fucking cultural opinions and will know if it's not up to tea.
Well, and I've heard from some insiders that the White House is basically falling apart and it's a shitbox, not a place to throw a party anyway. Yeah.
But you got to do it there. So
it photos well from the outside and from a couple of places on the inside where they have press meetings. And other than that, it's like falling apart.
Oh no. Do we need a White House renovation? Do we need a Queer Eye White House edition?
We absolutely should.
Yeah.
but not us. Somebody else should take care
No,
of
someone who's good at that stuff. So in summary, I think she has a really good LGBT history of supporting LGBT causes. She does have that issue with trans prisoners that I think is a valid, criticism of her past work. But mostly has been supportive of LGBT people, and certainly is better for LGBT people than any Republican candidate.
Yeah. So the potential criticisms that aren't crazy that I want to touch on, and then I want to get back to why she's great and why I'm totally voting for her.
Okay.
There's lots of crazy out there that is just, I'm not going to give it the time of day. I'm not going to give any air to that. These are the things that I have seen that give me pause, that I'm like, okay, I think that's an interesting argument or whatever. You touched on the denying trans surgery to inmates, and that the only rebuttal in my head is well, that was her job. That was the law. Yeah. But first is her tough on crime stance. She really was a aggressive district attorney by some measures, and that it argued that it disproportionately affected minority communities. I think that's valid. I think that's worth thinking about. She has said that she's opposed to the death penalty, but she defended it when she was the Attorney General of California. So I think that's another valid thing. I'm anti-death penalty. It took me a long time to get to that. I was very pro death penalty when I was younger. And that's just because for me, it's about numbers. The death penalty does not work as a deterrent, and it's very bumper sticker, but I don't understand why do we kill people to show that killing people is wrong? And I don't believe in the Bible and the eye for an eye bullshit. I'm not for the death penalty. So she's got some things that are okay to be questioning.
Yeah.
There's a couple more, but the one that it might surprise people to hear, I do have a little bit of a tough time swallowing, is the Democrats did Joe dirty. That's a thing that you'll hear Republicans say all the time. And I wonder if they're right. So here's the thing. She did not run in a single primary. Joe Biden was the nominee. Joe Biden had all of the delegates. Joe Biden was our candidate. And they basically sunset Joe. They just put him in a cart and pushed him over the edge. And because she's the vice president, she became the nominee. Now, I think that she has since done a really great job of galvanizing the party, but people on the right or people who aren't Democrats who want to say she didn't win any of the primaries, that's a valid criticism.
It's one of those things that if they did, they would be totally fine with. They're such a fan of breaking rules or breaking norms or traditions and just saying, well, technically it's fine. She didn't break any laws by becoming the nominee. And everyone is supporting her. I just don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
Now, if there were another candidate that we just kind of ignored, and people I don't think there was another candidate sitting there waiting to go, and we just ignored that candidate. I think Kamala was the clear next person to run for president. So I think it just kind of was a logical step.
Yeah, the only other people that got sort of named in that mix were Mayo Pete, and then other folks that were definitely not going to even run, like Elizabeth Warren again or whatever.
Right.
Now, I want to be clear. People don't understand the political parties in this country, and sorry, international listeners, just we're tired of it too. I promise. But the Democrats and the Republicans in this country are political parties under the First Amendment, and they have the right, the constitutional right, to decide for themselves how they choose their nominees. And that's why the Democrats have a slightly different system than the Republicans. That's why their primaries or their conventions are at different times. It's not up to anybody other than the Democrats to decide how their nominee is chosen. Now, there's some deadlines because you've got to get things on the ballot and you have to give states time to like reconcile that with whatever their laws are about how they do access to their ballots. But like what the Democrats did was technically correct. Like you can't argue that she isn't the nominee or shouldn't legally be the nominee. I have heard people say those things and they're crazy. They're just wrong. The Democrats get to decide because the Democrats are an organization that has the freedom of assembly under the First Amendment. And the timing is a little shady. A little shady. Like,
why do you think?
In my heart, I want to believe that Joe was in on it. And Joe was like, yeah, we'll make them think that I'm running and we'll get all the way there. And then we'll put Kamala in there at the last minute to make sure that she gets the nom. Although I suppose if that were true, he could have just resigned and then she'd be president now.
Oh, that's an interest. I haven't heard that strategy.
Yeah. Reasons to vote for her. First, she's a badass bitch. Second, she makes Republicans mad. Third, she's not Donald Trump, who would light everything on fire and kill us if it was expedient to his political hopes and dreams. What else, Kyle?
She's not a convicted sexual assaultant.
Yeah. Or a convicted felon.
She's never been impeached.
Yeah.
But she has so anti-Donald Trump that I'm basing a lot of it on anti-him. She's in her own right earned this nomination and I think has every sign of being a good president.
Yeah. Well, and I voted for Joe Biden. God bless Uncle Joe. Slow clap for everything you did for us the last 4 years. And I've never liked listening to him speak. It's always made me like nervous and like but every time she talks, and I said this way back in the 2020 race in 2019 when she was thinking about maybe running for president. When she speaks, I want to listen to her. She is an excellent orator, and that carries a lot, especially when what she's saying isn't wacko. And
yeah, when she speaks like a reasonable human, it's refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm done, Kyle. I'm going to vote for her. Everyone else should too.
There's a lot about Tim Walz that he also has supported LGBT issues. He was the faculty advisor for the GSA at his high school when he was a teacher.
Which is like a long time ago, yeah?
Yeah, super long time ago, because then he was in the military for a long time. In 2007, he received a 90% grade from the HRC.
Minnesota is pretty good for like queer people for the most part. But still, it's the Midwest. In 2005 or whatever, you're going to be pro-gay enough to help the high schoolers have a club. That's ballsy. Good for you.
Yeah. There's a bunch of other stuff he's done, but I'll point out in 2023, he signed bills that banned the practice of conversion therapy and protected gender affirming care in Minnesota. In 2024, he headlined the national dinner for the HRC.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's wild.
Yeah, neither did I. So yeah, he is both then and now been a supporter of LGBT issues. So I think both candidates have a long history of supporting LGBT people, with some asterisks or some criticisms.
And I rage book a lot, which I know. I wish I could say I'm working on it because I'm not. And I got called out for cherry picking, which maybe that's true. I don't know. But find me a photograph of Donald J. Trump looking even remotely like a father to any of his children. Like, I can't find any. Like, any. And not any. There are some. But it is not like the pictures of Governor Walz. Like, you can find a bajillion, like, live images from the convention of him interacting with his children and be like, oh, he is actually like a father to them and loves them and they love him. And he's more interested in, like, he's not just interested in himself. He has like care and concern for other human beings. And I don't know. I think I think it's interesting that President Trump, like, where's his wife? Even his wife fucking hates him. Like, anyway.
Even his wife hates him. Yep. I think that covers it.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. It's unfortunate how tired we already are, and it's only September.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this, Kyle, before we go to the break.
Okay.
I have let my hope for Kamala overshadow a simmering pot of anxiety. And it goes something like this. If she loses, we get 4 years of Donald Trump, who, by all accounts, appears to be ready to burn this motherfucker down, end democracy, deport everyone that is somebody that white Christians don't like, take away rights with impunity, a horrible, hellacious change for the fabric of this country. And by the way, I do consider myself a patriot. I love this country. I just hate it sometimes. But if she wins, is it civil war? Are they going to listen to all of the election was stolen again, that we can't trust the basic institutions of this country to count votes like properly? Are they going to do January 6th all over again, but at like 3 times the scale, and literally burn this country down? I don't see a good outcome. Like, sometimes when I let myself feel those anxieties, I see nothing but bad things happening in November, no matter which way it goes, which is why boyfriend and I are going to Japan.
Will you be let back in is the real question.
It's for my birthday, which just happens to be a week after the election.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. And I worry about another January 4th, January 6th. And I think that there's so much talk, though. There's so much talk, and they have some crazies on their side that may do something, but I don't think I think the idea of a civil war, if that's a serious suggestion that may happen, I don't think that's where we're at. And I don't think that's a realistic possibility. I think the claims of election fraud are definitely going to be there if she wins. He's, always setting that up for any time he loses. It was not his fault, or something else happened, or what have you. So he's always prepping that line, and his followers believe it in spite of how it's been proven not to be true. So logic doesn't kind of crack into their skulls. So I think some of those are for sure going to happen, but I don't think full on civil war, World War III style bloodbath is real.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. That didn't sound optimistic. I didn't convince you.
I would agree if January 6th hadn't happened. Right. And that's different than World War III or whatever. But I don't know. I think they're extra crazy, and they're being extra crazy this year. And I'm just worried. Yeah. The whole thing is troublesome. I remember having an election watch party in 2016, and like everybody being in tears, and me thinking like, oh, this was a mistake.
The flip side is, maybe if Trump loses, that kind of breaks apart the Republican Party. Maybe it signals the downfall of the Republican Party, or at least like he's not going to run again. So the Trumps and Trump fanatics in the Republican Party, maybe they'll kind of go away or phase out. Like, there's maybe some hope that would actually help the Republican Party move forward out of this Trump era. So maybe there's some good things that could happen as a result of a Harris win.
Yeah. I'm with you. That makes sense. Some actual reforms, some removal of some of the cult behavior that we've seen.
Yeah.
Also, I'm kind of worried that they're going to steal the election.
Oh.
Like, even though we have the Senate for now, the Republicans have the House of Representatives, and Like there are all of these election officials now that have been replaced in some pretty tenuous places who can just refuse to certify the election. Oh, well, what do we do? And then Congress has to figure it out.
When you said we have the Senate for now, I thought you meant because the Senate will like be disassembled or something under Trump.
Well, yeah.
Our institutions will fall apart from the inside. But
have we learned nothing from the Roman Empire? No, nothing. This is depressing, Kyle. Let's get that hope feeling back.
Yeah, we have a great candidate running for the Democratic nominee for president. And I'm excited about both her record and support of LGBT people, and think she would make a great president. So I'm looking forward to her winning.
I'm looking forward to her winning too.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do we do it?
Yeah, we did it.
Okay, so let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
This is the part where Mike and Kyle take a break. So are we back?
We're back.
We're back.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest.
We're going to do our Gayest and Straightest. But first, our website is gayishpodcast.com.
We are on socials at Gayish Podcasts, where you can find our Facebook group or our Discord. All the links that you want to our social media at gayishpodcast.com/contact.
Our hotline, you can send us text messages or leave us voicemails, is 5855-GAYISH. That's 585-542-9474. Standard rates apply.
Our email is gayishpodcast@gmail.com.
Our physical mailing address is Post Office Box 19882, Seattle, Washington, 98109. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, Mike.
It's Local Gay Bar Review. I'm going to start doing local gay bar reviews again. I've got quite a few saved up now, so I feel like I can do them.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. Okay, this one is La Noche in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Went down there for a birthday party, which was really fun. There was a drag queen that was performing, and despite none of us really speaking Spanish very well, brought the birthday boy up on the stage. So that was fun.
That's exciting.
I did notice a little bit in that we were definitely paying the white people prices for beverages, but it was fine because it was still fun. There was a bunch of different like levels, like outside areas, and then stairs, and then more outside areas, and then like a kind of inside part, but it was all hot, humid, tropical, like just everything felt wet. But that's not the bar's fault. I had a lot of fun. There were palm trees inside. It reminded me a little bit of the bar in Dallas with the cowboy motif. But I don't know. Anyway, and then there was a go-go boy in a pup mask, and then there was another go-go boy in a pup mask that was sniffing the other go-go boy in the pup mask's butt while they were spinning on the pole.
Wow.
It was 3.5 dildos until I saw the pole butt sniffing, and that made it 4 dildos. 4 dildos.
Wow. 4 dildos. A great review.
Yeah.
Do you want to do our Gayest and Straightest?
Let's do our Gayest and Straightest. You go first.
Yeah. My gayest is the shorty shorts that I'm wearing.
Oh, good for you.
I had a couple pairs of chill, relaxing at my home shorts that I wear when I work from home, and Reynolds ate a big hole in the ones that were reasonable length. So now I'm wearing the shorty ones.
Great.
So I'm just being a slut for no reason.
You're welcome, Reynolds.
Yeah, he's the one that gets to see it. Yeah, because you only see like my shoulders and up on work calls. Yeah. My straightest is making a D's nuts joke to you.
Yeah. Would you like to retell it?
Oh yeah, are you going to SoCon?
SoCon? What's SoCon?
SoCon D's nuts.
Yeah, great. It's funny you're in text.
I saw it on Reddit, and so I had to send it to you.
I was like, did Kyle's phone get stolen? This is like...
What about you, Mike?
What about me? The straightest thing about me this week is in the process of trying to buy a house, and just like all of the straight guy stuff about like, where's the crawl space and how do we scope the sewer line and the stuff that's happening in the inspection report. It's just all so very like home care straight guy stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then the gayest thing about me this week is actually a tie. You talked about your shorty shorts, but we went on our D&D retreat this weekend, and you at one point just said, Mike, your shorts are very
tight or small, whatever you said.
Whatever I said, you were like wearing some biker shorts.
Yeah. True that. You're welcome. But the other thing is, if we end up getting this house that we're trying to buy, discussing where we're going to put the sex dungeon has been
fun,
super fun. Yeah. We have a listener's Gayest and Straightest this week. It's a known Libra or something.
Yeah. This is Aspen from Iowa.
Aspen.
Hi, Mike and Kyle. My name is Aspen. I'm 21 years old. I'm a Libra, and I'm calling in from the great state of Iowa with a Gayest and Straightest. My gayest is that my manager had to pull me aside today because I keep flirting with every cute boy that comes through the drive-thru, and it is ruining our drive times. My straightest is that also today, before I left, she asked me for my gamer tag on PS5 so that I could play Destiny with her husband. So I can't wait to get all broy with her hubby. Anyways, keep up the good work, and I appreciate you guys. Okay, bye.
Aspen, focus on that drive time. Got to get those drive time numbers down.
I disagree. Flirt your ass off, boy. Like, don't let the fast food industry get in the way of you and a good dicking.
Just flirt quicker. Get right to it. Pretend you're on Grindr. Get right to the point.
Hone your craft.
Yes. This is your opportunity to whittle down the most important lines to flirt quickly with any boy that you find.
Oh, goodness. Did we do it?
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody in advance for voting for Kamala Harris for president of the United States, especially you motherfuckers in Pennsylvania.
And you Canadians.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank our super gap bridgers. Thank you to Locomotive, Kaylee Adams, Kid Oliver, Kobe Gordon, Squaggle, Pip, Andrew Bugby, William Bryant, John Crowley, Yost Osel, Jonathan Montanius, Forrest Nell, Steve Douglas, Explosive Lasagna, Michael Covington, Just Jamie, Thomas B, Dusty Sands, A. Coleman, Chris Cacciatorians, and Jerome York. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your money. That's it. This has been Gayish from the Chris Cacciatorian Studios. I'm Mike Johnson.
I'm Kyle Getz. Until next week, be butch, be fabulous, be you.
Vote.
Vote.
Vote. Hello, everyone in the I just said politics.
You got this, Mike. It's only your 404th time doing it.